Hi, for my topic for the Fundamentalist Modernist Controversy Module 6 video for this week, I will be talking about the Scopes trial. The Scopes trial was a trial that took place from July 10th to July 21st in 1925 in Dayton, Tennessee. The trial was basically a conflict between the old idea of biblical creation as an origin for man and the new idea of Darwinian evolution theory, which states that man descended from animals over time, over millions of years. The ACLU, which is known as the American Civil Liberties Union, organized this case, and it was a very high visibility profile case. There were journalists there. More cables were sent overseas about this event than any other event in American history, as the Answers in Genesis page puts it. The trial was prosecuted by William Jennings Bryan, who was a staunch creationist and Christian. He believed in the biblical creation account and believed that it was the explanation for man on Earth, as well as life and life of other types as well. The ACLU's case was the ACLU brought in one of their famed lawyers named Clarence Darrow, who was a very successful criminal lawyer. He had a record for winning very high-profile, very difficult, radical cases, which were considered unwinnable. And the defendant for the case was John T. Scopes, who was a high school biology teacher in Dayton, Tennessee, and one who believed in the Darwinian evolution theory. So the ACLU contacted John T. Scopes and asked if he would be willing to be a defendant for their test case, and he said yes after the ACLU agreed to pay all related expenses. The trial took place between July 10th and the 21st and was very, very heated. The arguments were varied significantly, but they generally followed this theme. Clarence Darrow argued that since the Butler Act only forbade the teaching of evolution of man from animals and forbade the teaching of the denial of creation, Scopes must be innocent since he did not break either clause. Also, which version of the Bible was it that was infallible? All the versions were slightly different, so which one was correct and infallible? A good argument. William Bryan argued that since Scopes had taught the descent of man from lower animals, no details about evolutionary theory were necessary. Bryan also argued that the teaching of evolution left mankind without absolute moral rules and basically put us on the same level as animals morally. The real turning point in the case came when Bryan eventually took the stand toward the end of the trial, and Darrow questioned him at length about the creation account. And Clarence Darrow asked him if creation could have been going on for a very long time. Bryan then made a compromise on the scriptural word, when Clarence Darrow asked him what the evening and the morning were the first day and the morning and evening were the second day meant to him, he said that it did not Bryan said it did not necessarily mean a literal 24-hour day, which was a compromise on the authority and word of Scripture. Bryan was then questioned. When Darrow asked him if creation could have been going on for a very long time, Bryan then stated it might have continued for millions of years. Thus, an attempt was made to fit in the scriptural account and tradition with the new Darwinian evolution theory paradigm, which states that evolution happened over which states that life evolved over millions of years. The end result was that Scopes was found guilty of violating the Butler Act and given a fine of $100. And this established a precedent. The end of Clarence Darrow's testimony when he questioned Bryan and managed to make him cave, or for that matter, compromise on the word of Scripture. A precedent was established which eventually gave Darwinian evolutionary theory an unchallengeable status in public schools. So, that was the result of this trial. Please feel free to comment or let me know what you think of my video. I'm very interested to hear it. Have a great night.